Hello, everyone. It's Reagan here, and I have a really beautiful, powerful message. I really feel like this is a big one. I was just laying in the sun on the earth. It feels so good. Highly recommend that. And I just got like this message that, I needed. It was kind of just a combination of like a lot of the things I've been learning and feeling and experiencing, and then it all just sort of feels like it like organized. So I just really feel called to share it. And again, I really feel like this is a really big message right now and going forward. So let's just dive right in. It's all about all the like really in my experience in my life, the biggest things, biggest keys, and lots of other tips of how to thrive in this new energy, that we've been feeling, that we feel a lot now, and that we're going to keep feeling. And I talk about this a lot, so I really want to get into the nitty and the gritty of like, this literal like shift. I don't even know how to explain it, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And then like a lot of like, just the whole old paradigm, the old systems, old structures, old belief systems, old ways of doing things. All of it is crumbling and it really isn't working at all. The ways of control and controlling your external circumstances and trying to live from the outside in and believing in the illusion of the matrix, versus remembering who you really are. So I'm gonna really go into like detail with all of these things. I really feel like it's gonna come through really clearly because I was just sitting there and I just get this feeling lately, like, and I obviously never mean this in a fear mongering way or even I don't ever try to be like in a prophetic way either, but I just get this strong feeling, like, to be frank, like this world, this country, here in the US is about to go through some shit. And I don't mean bad. I just mean lots of change. There's going to be a lot of changes, obviously, as there already has been. So, the thing with that though that I really really feel so strongly is that shift, how you experience that shift and reality will more and more entirely depend on like your vibration basically and a lot of your choices and beliefs and all of these things. So we have a lot of freedom in that way and how we experience this. And this is just the message. I'm just going to be pure about it and not try to let like my human self get in the way. I'm just going to deliver it, I guess, like how it came through for me. So I've been realizing more and more, as we already know, and again we've been feeling a lot, especially since like 2020. We're all standing in the same physical field here on Earth, obviously, but you can be standing in the same field with somebody else, and you guys can be in completely different realities, basically based off of your vibration, based off your frequency. Some people can be in this whole other timeline, and it's kind of real and valid for them. It's literally their reality. It's their beliefs, it's what they're attracting, it's what they're creating, it's what they're experiencing internally, and then it's mirroring to them externally. So it's literally real for them. It's their reality. It's what they're experiencing. And, and then you could have someone else standing in the same field who's like on this really, and again, it's not about, I hate, like, the thing I hate about saying this is I don't want it to sound like one's superior, because it doesn't mean one person is superior. It's literally just like energetics. It's just like physics in a way. That's all it is. It's your frequency. But we're gonna like go into all of this a lot more. So, but someone else could be standing in the same exact physical space and be in a completely different realm. They could be experiencing something completely different. If they're on this higher consciousness vibration, they could be experiencing miraculous things, amazing things, like that, they're, because like that's the way that their mind works, and it takes work to get to that point, because we're all coming out of the MK Ultra nonsense. But and just that density, really, we're just coming out of the density. We're going to get into that, because something I really, and I've mentioned this before, but coming out of the mind control state that we've been in, we've really only scratched the surface of it in a lot of ways. And I don't say that at all to be daunting. I say that actually to be encouraging, because what that really means is that as we continue to do that work to let go of that control, and this is, it is something we have to participate in, but it's also something that is like in a lot of ways naturally already, trying to happen for us at any given moment. And, we'll get into all that stuff. It's just so much I want to share. And, my cat has just distracted me. Hi, buddy. It's so funny how that happens sometimes. I just lose my train of thought. But yeah, basically I'm just saying, like, just to like start this off. Oh, the mind control thing. You can be like, it's encouraging because it means that even though we've been very, very controlled, and I'm not even just talking about, all the, like, learning about all the ways in which we've been controlled. That's just kind of, again, even the surface. When we realize how much, this is what this really is, how much we've been using our minds unconsciously to create our own prison in so many ways that we thought and believed was just reality, but it's literally just us creating a prison for ourselves. That's what breaking out of the mind control is. And that's why it's so hard, but so rewarding. Because really what the heart I'm trying to say is that means as we come out of this, we are really going to find, like, holy shit, I am powerful. Like, holy shit, I am amazing. I am love. I am God's source energy. I create my reality. Like, I don't have to play in a lot of these things, that I thought I had to play in. I can just create from the inside out. I can just live in God's abundance. It's available. Heaven is a place on earth, and it's available for all of us, especially if you're open and willing. That's really all it is, being open and willing. But I want to get into, I know this is kind of a long preface, but I really want to just share, like, I think like eight or nine specific keys that I have found that really, really, really will help you to thrive in this energy now and start to let go of the old way of doing things. And I feel like this is going to be like pretty concise. So let's do it. So the first one is presence and starting to embody your soul. And this is something that's kind of obvious and cliche, but it's really, really important, because it's basically remembering who you are in every now moment, and starting to have the awareness and the discipline and the practice to stop getting sucked into the illusion of what you're not, and remembering who you really are and making that like your first priority every single day, for real. And your ego is not really going to like this, because this is the death of the ego, because you start to be like, who am I? Ask yourself that question in every moment, especially when contrast arises. Who am I? Who am I really? What's trying to happen here? Like, what is this? Just starting to question your old ways of thinking, and just remembering who you really are. You are God's source incarnated, period. You are that magnificent. Stop playing small. You are the I am. I really genuinely believe this is one of, Jesus's greatest teachings, is you are, God in the physical. And when you really remember this for real and start to anchor it into your body, embody it, that means not just in your mind you think it, because that doesn't matter if you're not embodying it, feeling it. That's what embodying is really about, feeling it. And we've been very, very numb. It's part of the mind control. You're going to start feeling a lot more. And that's a practice you can start to just feel. It doesn't have to be this crazy grandiose thing, just little subtle reminders, and starting to just do whatever you can to start to feel more like who you really are, your real unique soul. We all have a unique, amazing soul expression of God, nothing less. When you really, really, really like seriously remember that, make that your first priority. And that's part of the presence of being actually present throughout your day, no matter what you're doing or getting into. Can you start to like remind yourself, like, like, I guess I was gonna say religiously, but just like consistently, like make that like really your first priority to like remind yourself, like make that a practice to remind yourself throughout your day, whatever you're going through, whether it's amazing or whether it's irritating or whether it's, confusing, just can you just forget all of that for, these moments and be present and remember who you are. Remember who you are. You are God. You are sovereign. You are a creator being. You are royalty. We are all royalty, period. Break out of the freaking mind control. Break out of the illusion. You're not a slave. You're not a victim. You're not this piece of shit, useless thing that has no worth or no value unless you do whatever your ego says you're supposed to do. You are God incarnated. It's enough. Really start to remember that and then feel that in your body however you can. Make that your first priority, and you're going to just notice everything start to shift. And again, the ego is probably going to resist that because that's the death of the ego. That's the death of the small stories. That's the death of everything you thought you were again and again and again and again. And it's freedom. And sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's painful because those parts of you that you thought you were have to die, and it's okay. And you honor them and you love them because they got you to where you are now, And we just keep like shedding these layers of the illusion. So the second one then goes right in hand with that, is also the practice of learning to, again, practice unconditional gratitude, unconditional love, unconditional trust, unconditional surrender with yourself, with God, with the universe. And it's so beautiful, and it's really, really hard because, again, that old part of us, the old part of ourselves, the old part of humanity, the old paradigm that we were literally existing in is all about circumstances. It's all about conditions. It's all about control. It's all about, I need this and this and this and this so that way I can feel loved, or I can feel love, or that way I can feel grateful. Once I have this, then I'll feel grateful. This new energy is really, 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 really asking you and actually kind of needing you for your best, to live your best life, needing for you to start to practice starting to create and practice these states of love and gratitude and surrender and trust unconditionally, and that was the next tip. It kind of goes hand in hand with this one, is letting go of your addiction to the external circumstances, letting go of these attachments, letting go of your controlling mechanisms, all of your ego's control. We have these control mechanisms, these coping mechanisms over like some of the weirdest things you'll find, once we get down to the nitty and the gritty, it's often very silly, but it's like, it's real for us. It's real for the human. It's real for the ego, to feel safe. We have all of these, sometimes complicated things that we think we have to do. And you'll notice it in your mind. You'll notice it because it'll come, usually for me at least, it comes in the form of these thoughts. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. And it's just kind of this automatic thing that happens. But when you really start being present and you start questioning those thoughts instead of just giving into them because they're familiar and they feel good and you're getting something out of them, even if they're destructive. That's another thing you can do that'll really help you, is like with any destructive patterns, like you might start to become aware of, is like, what are you getting out of it? You're getting something out of it, and like do some reflection on that. And oftentimes it might be kind of silly, but you can honor it. It's like you're doing it because it's familiar, it's safe, it's helping you to avoid an ego death. It's helping you to avoid facing your real self. It's helping you to avoid the embodying your power, but also like the power that it takes, summoning the power that it takes to step into who you are. That's a big one. It's allowing you to hide, basically. A lot of these coping mechanisms, once they come to the surface, it's these are things that have kept us safe, and they have, but when they come up, it's time to see them, because again, everything that is happening, basically, it's like a lot of it is, you can see it as the light is coming in and shining on the darkness and shining on what's been hidden. That's the new energy. That's the new era. The light is coming in literally from the sun, And within us, it's activating everything and it's breaking everything up and it's shaking everything up and it's rattling everything up. And so, again, it doesn't mean that things are getting worse. It's just everything is being seen. It's being spotlighted, especially the things we don't want to see. Again, in our individual lives and in the collective. So starting to practice, and like I'm talking about making all these things I'm saying like your number one priority, and you'll really, really start to see your reality shift. And it doesn't mean you won't have contrast, but I'm telling you, life gets so much better. And you'll just be amazed at what's possible and the ways that it's possible for us to live on this earth right now. And to let go of these ways of just constant strife and struggle and fear and paranoia and worry and all of these limiting beliefs that really is what is keeping us in our own prison. It's so weird. That's really the mind control that we're coming out of, and it is possible, and anyone can do it. It's just about being open and willing to walk the path. And when you show up and walk the path to the best of your ability, it doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. It means you just don't give up. And you walk this path, God will provide for you always. Always. And you just start having more and more faith in yourself and what is arising, and not trying to control it and manipulate it so much, because it's just, you don't have to, with all this stuff, that all these ego narratives where we think we have to control everything. All it does is it's going to make you spin your wheels out, and it's going to exhaust you, and it's probably not even going to work anyways. So the key here that I've been learning big time again is making it my biggest priority to be present, to remember who I am, and that is enough. And let that be enough, and let that guide me throughout my days. And that's what really guides me, and that's what really takes care of me. It takes care of me. It's a huge shift, and it is me, because we are not separate from God. It's not a separate thing. It feels like it in a lot of ways because, we're still in this density. So it does feel like, there's like like that kind of a dynamic. So that's true. But it also, like, as we continue to awaken and evolve, it starts to become more clear. Again, not just mentally, but actually in our bodies, and an embodied knowing of like, this is me, this is God, this is what I am, this is who I am. So when you really start to remember who you are and ingrain that in your being, making it a priority, making it a habit, a lot of these things are practices, they're habits. You'll really start to notice everything shift. I'm telling you, that really is the biggest key, is starting to remember who you are in every moment. Even if you are suffering or going through something, just remember who you are for real. Do your best to remember who you are. Because that really is going to take care of you more and more, and it's going to open you up to everything you need. That's what I mean. God is going to take care of you. It's going to open you up to everything you need, whether it's information or a message or resources or a relationship or people or these things that will come into your life via God, your higher self, your soul, this like higher consciousness that you are co-creating with, that you're not. So the old way is like, I'm going to try to manipulate all these external circumstances like full on, and like have no faith in God, and like I'm just gonna do it all because I can't depend on God. I'm trying to articulate like some of that separation mindset. And again, there's no shame or blame on it. It's just that density. And if you're watching this and you're still listening to this, then you're probably interested in starting to come out of that density of literally co-creating and living with God. It literally feels like the Garden of Eden. And I'm not saying I live in it all the time, but I do feel it, this frequency that I've never felt before, more and more throughout my days. And literally, I just want this love for everyone. I really just want this kind of love and peace and presence. I really want this for everyone. And I know it is coming for everyone, at least everyone who wants it. I'm just trying to kind of like give some keys, I guess, that I've learned. And hopefully, you can use this in your own way. So surrender, trust, unconditional love, unconditional gratitude and appreciation, unconditional, being thankful for what is right now. One of the biggest affirmations that I use that you can tell yourself to really start to get into this like 0 point powerful ass like place is, everything that I need, I already have. Everything that I have is all that I need. Really, really, really start to hold that and like reprogram your own self with that. Everything I have, I need. Everything I need, I have, period. And We're going to talk about creation or manifestation as well in this, because I think that is important. So it doesn't mean you're not creating or expanding, because you are. You can set these intentions and they will, ask and you shall receive. But the thing is, it's going to be most powerful when you're really embodied in that knowing that everything you have, you need. Everything you need, you have. Really, really try to watch out for desperation energy. That's that energy that will repel everything from you that you want, and it will probably continue to do that until you internally shift that by, again, we're going to talk about, like I talk about all the time, by feeling it and learning how to stand in your shadow and work with your shadow. So yeah, that's the second one. The first one is the presence, embodying your soul, embodying, remembering who you are and feeling it in your body, feeling the light in your body, doing whatever you can, because it's really important to get into your body right now and take really good care of your health and your body, because this is very physical. And your reality, it's one thing to change your mindset. I feel like that's the first step, is starting to change your mindset. But in my experience, changing your mindset really won't have the kind of effect on your reality in your life and your whole experience like embodying it. Once you have the mindset, embodying it, which means taking action, aligned actions with it, feeling it in your body, and literally feeling it, feeling the feeling of it. I don't know how else to explain it than that. It's a practice, because it's feeling new things, kind of. It's feeling unknown things. It's the ability, the practice. It's working this muscle, this spiritual muscle of being able to feel things that you want to feel without your external circumstances having to change. You feel it first, and you really, really practice feeling it first, and your external circumstances have to change, and they will change. But all of this addiction to the external circumstances, this is again the third one, needing your external circumstances to change first before you, I feel like that's part of the old energy that's kind of falling away. And sometimes I think maybe you can still get away with that, and it does help, and it is like a co-creative process. But the biggest, most powerful thing you can do, I find, is really focusing on the inner, practicing these inner feelings, and again, working that muscle. And it's a little uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable because it's very new. Of really feeling it, feeling the gratitude, feeling the love, feeling the freedom, feeling the joy, or whatever it is you want to feel in your life more of. Start feeling it now. Practice it. Just practice. It doesn't involve your mind. It doesn't involve your thoughts or thinking, really. It more is just feeling it in your body. Meditating helps a lot, or dancing, or, art. Imagining, like, say you want to feel more gratitude, like just, feeling gratitude, feeling the things you're thankful for, even if it's subtle, it's a practice, it's like learning to play guitar or something. It's like you just practice and be so gentle and compassionate with yourself, and like have that beginner's mind if you have to, and just, start feeling that gratitude. There's so many things you can be thankful for. Think of the things that genuinely, even again, if you're suffering, like just be present and be grateful for this moment that you have where you are safe. And then you can kind of like, sometimes I'll imagine like that energy of that gratitude or freedom or whatever it is, like literally filling my body like a light. And I do like a body scan, and I imagine it filling me up, and I imagine it being all around me, and I just imagine it going out into the entire universe. And something like that, and you can be creative. You're an artist, you're a creator, you are a creator being. So you can, find your own thing that works for you. But that's, one example of just starting to embody it in your, like, feel it in your bones, feel it in your cells, feel it in your nervous system. Like, these things that you want to feel, it's really powerful. And then again, the third one, letting go of our addiction, our need for the external circumstances, because something about this journey that I have found is that the more you flow, the more you're following your heart, the more you're following your soul, the more you're not gonna always have clarity on what the external circumstances are even gonna be. And so if you worry so much about that, it's just going to be kind of a distraction versus following God. It's like moving by faith, not by sight, more and more. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, just overall, letting go of attachments, letting go of control, and you're going to find there's going to be probably a lot of things that arise in your life that maybe cause pain, and you can a lot of times look at them as opportunities that your soul is giving you in order to help you let go of that control, of in order to let go of that attachment to the illusion, to the outside world, to show you places where you're not loving yourself, where you can now love yourself more. We're always given, everything is so sacred, it's so divine. And the more you really look at it that way, like as everything, again, because the first one, the most important one, when you remember who you are, you know you're not a victim. So you start, when you really start to ingrain that remembrance and embody that remembrance, you just naturally start to look at everything that's arising as a gift. And again, that starts to really get this momentum going in your reality where more and more it literally is a gift. You know, it's not just like you're gaslighting yourself. It's like you just trust that it's a gift, even if you don't understand it, and you follow it through, and then something miraculous happens. And there's like this really, really amazing new like edge, I guess, that I think we're able to tap into more and more now, of being able to have so much trust, stand in so much faith, that we're able to tap into some very unshakable states. And when you are able to start tapping into your power like that, you're going to find again how much the external world around you is almost like a puppet show, you know, and it's really giving you what you're giving it. And so we have a lot of power there, you know. And so again, you know, if something comes up and you're giving it away all your power already, you're giving it away all this fear, you know, just starting to become aware of all of this. And again, another thing I want to throw in here is, if you have the awareness of something, even if you think, oh my gosh, you know, why am I doing that? Again, if you have the awareness of it, you're already, you know, you're already there. Like, you know, once you see it, it can't be unseen. So again, just remember to give yourself so much credit and honor your improvements, because we're going to be on this journey doing this kind of stuff consistently. So just remember to, you know, continue to have that unconditional love for yourself. Just makes everything so much easier. It really does. So then the fourth one is the flow state. You know, I've talked about this before, like the feeling state. And this is about really learning to follow your soul more and more. And it's a different way of being, because when you're following your soul, it's a completely different way of existing than humanity has existed, pretty much, you know, in the old paradigm. You know, and to me, this feels like following my love, following my joy, following my inspiration, following my excitement, following my health, you know, what feels right to me. And so when you do that, you know, it's really amazing, and you'll be really blessed. You'll experience a lot of like really magical synchronicities, a lot. And sometimes it's smooth and sometimes it's hard, you know, because sometimes your soul will guide you towards something that your ego will want to resist. And it doesn't mean that, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just going to be like, it's going to create kind of a conflicting experience sometimes. And the more you can just really trust your soul, that's just been my experience. Just trust your soul. And again, if you resist it, it's okay. It's part of the learning process. But, you know, the more you can follow it and not resist it, because this energy to me is very shit or get off the pot. It's not very ride the fence. It's very much like either, you know, jump into what you know you're supposed to jump into, or you're going to be like really, really probably suffering and finding, you know, you're going to be like really suffering and trying to find ways to numb yourself out. You're going to be really in your head, in your mind, justifying things and wondering why you don't feel good. And so it's like learning to follow your soul is imperative. And again, it won't always make logical sense. Okay, so then the fifth one, this is really, really, really important. This is really so important, is learning to stand in darkness masterfully. not being afraid of the shadow, not being afraid of your shadow, not being afraid of the shadows of others. This is really, really important because we still live in duality. And so everything I'm saying, about raising your vibration and this kind of stuff, it's true, but sometimes I almost shy away from saying it because I don't like how it almost in this spiritual culture implies like that you're not supposed to ever feel bad, because that's not the case at all. I'm talking about practicing these states of gratitude, practicing these states of love, and joy and bliss and play and all of these things is very, very important, and exciting and fun, I think. And it does not mean that you are not going to feel your shadow. It's not that at all. It doesn't mean the shadow's never going to arise. It just simply means that you're going to have a more loving relationship with your shadow, with the parts of yourself that you don't like, with the parts of yourself that you think are bad or wrong or unlovable. And there's probably going to be times when, you're standing in your darkness, you're feeling your pain, you're feeling your shame. And I talk about this on my channel all the time. It's just really, 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 just starting to develop a more loving relationship with your pain, with yourself, with your shadow, with your darkness, having more compassion, having more forgiveness, having more courage to see it and stop letting it hide in the shadows. Because when you deny your shadow, anytime you deny your shadow, you think you're getting away from it. It's controlling you. And when it comes up, let it be seen, because every single time your shadow comes up, it's literally an opportunity for you to get like 10 pounds lighter. That's all it is. So you're going to have to go and just dive right into the pain. And the pain is just going to burn away all the illusions of what you thought that you were, that you weren't. Ego deaths again and again and again. Get good at it. Get good at the ego deaths. And there's probably going to be times when you have to stand in the darkness of others. And that's like this. All of these are their whole own topics, like on their own, but there's so much information, and there's so much information on that you can learn these skills. And if you care, you will find ways to learn these skills, and you'll just get better and better and more refined at it. And again, nothing is going to top your own inner wisdom when you start remembering who you are and tapping into your own source, your own infinite wellspring of wisdom within you. And it will guide you towards all of these things. So learning how to stand in your darkness, not being afraid of the fear, not feeling ashamed of the shame. I feel everything. And I really don't judge myself for any of it more than ever. I don't judge myself for any of it. It's just part of the experience. It's like pain and pleasure. It's two sides of the same coin. It is what it is, in that duality. It's really, really okay. And so the less you resist that, the less you try to cling to the positive, and run from the negative, it's just, life overall is just going to be a lot easier. Again, it's so hard to explain because it's easier. You'll feel deeper. You'll feel pain. You might feel pain deeper, but it'll bother you less. It's really amazing. It's really amazing. And again, it's temporary. It's not forever. You're never going to be stuck in it. It's like we're in a river of life that's constantly flowing. So the sixth one, this is just my tip too, is because, going back to learning how to stand in the darkness and the discernment, it's just about flow, learning to flow, just flow, flow, flow. You don't have to fixate on things forever. Just keep flowing and seeing, something higher is always trying to happen for you. And I tell myself that all the time. And I mean it, especially when things are falling apart or something's breaking down and I start kind of like being like, like, I don't understand what's happening. That's what that's my affirmation, and that is my reality, and that is my truth. It's like something higher is trying to happen. And when I remind myself of that, I trust that because I've literally experienced that so many times. And I'm like, okay, that means I can let go. Let me just let go. Let me just stop trying to make it work because it doesn't want to work. Let me just let it go and see what God is going to show me. And it's always amazing. And then the next one, the sixth one, is finding ways to help people, finding ways to be of service. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. Your heart, again, when you're on this path, when you're remembering who you are, when you're embodying this love and this unconditional love and gratitude, and just like really stepping into this mastery of not trying to control your circumstances so much, following your soul, following your soul's guidance, embodying who you really are, remembering your power, standing in your power, whatever that looks like for you and your unique, very unique, purposefully unique life. You're already being of such service to humanity. You really, really are. So remember that. And anything you do on top of that, is amazing. And that's we're all connected. We're here to help each other. So, however your heart is going to guide you to start showing up more and being and helping people more, whether it's just something as simple as, saying something kind to someone, whereas before you might have just looked the other way, or whatever it is. It can just be little things like that, like making, nurturing your relationships more, showing up at your work, with more love and gratitude. Or maybe it is actually volunteering, or, starting something creative, or starting some kind of community or entrepreneurship. I think everyone should try entrepreneurship. I really do. It's just the basic concept of, finding what you love, finding what you're passionate about, and starting to try to offer that to people who want it and need it, and having a sacred, value exchange in that. I feel like that's something we all can do. And, my journey with that has been very, very spiritual. It's a very spiritual thing when you want to start showing up and serving like that, because it asks a lot of you. It asks for you to really get over yourself in a lot of ways and just serve. So however you can help people, and just start thinking about helping people more. Again, whether it is in some kind of like a entrepreneurship type way, in any way, or it's just volunteering, or it's literally just showing up in your life and emanating more love or strength or grace or courage or whatever it is the people that are in your life need. Because when you're living like this, you have a lot of energy you often have a lot of energy to give. So it's really important to help people. And, it's not all just about you, it's about really, we're here to help each other and build community. That's going to be a big theme more and more coming up, is building community, whether that means you're initiating your own community and starting to gather people intentionally, or joining other people who are already doing it, or both. And then the last main one is learning how to create, learning how to manifest from the quantum realm, truly, setting intentions, and creating a beautiful life for yourself, because that's another way that we help humanity and help the earth, is because we have the capability to live in such a beautiful way. We really, really do. I really, really just can't believe my life sometimes. And all I want is that for everyone. And I know everybody can do it. And we just have to keep getting out of this victim mentality, and remembering who we are. And like I said before, the most important thing you can do is the first one, is embodying who you really are, and starting to tell yourself and hold and embody the knowing that everything you have is all that you need. Everything you need is all that you have. And really start to, if you need to do that shadow work when it comes up, to let go of the fear, the shame, the desperation, the despair energies, within you, learning how to work those and not let them control you anymore. Don't let them hide in the shadows. Bring them to the light. Do that. That is the shadow work. Because if you don't, they will control you, and you'll wonder why you're miserable, oftentimes. And it's hard work, but it's the most rewarding work. And it seems like there's really no other option anymore. That's what people don't understand about this energy. That's why I feel like I see people suffer so much, is again, it's like shit or get off the pot. That's how this energy feels, at least to me. It's really powerful, and it's really a lot of pressure in a way, a lot of pressure pushing us to remember who we are, and to live our best lives, to genuinely live our best lives. And obviously you have free will, you have a choice. You don't have to do this type of work. And it's not even work, it's play. That's another thing. The more you can see it as play, all of this stuff just up levels. The more you just see it as play, and you just have fun, and because when you remember who you are, it's not work, it is play. That's why remembering who you are is the most important thing you can do, because it just takes all of these it just naturally starts to exfoliate all of these illusions off of you when you remember who you are and you practice that. But I do think creation is important. I think we all have our own heart's desires for a reason. And, the more we can create heaven on earth in our lives by intentionally showing up and being and emanating and creating things with more love, more harmony, more beauty, more joy, more excitement, more service to others, more connection to nature, more connection to God. The more we can set your intentions big, set them big, because we're creator beings, and you will, as long as you don't give up, it'll take you there, and you'll have an amazing ride. You'll have an amazing journey. When you set those big intentions, your journey will really start to open up. And the most powerful thing when you're creating is to create from overflow, create from love, create from connection to God, create from abundance. So that's why that's the first priority. Not creating from desperation, not creating from fear, not creating because you need to control everything, because those things aren't going to work for you. I'm telling you, that is the old energy that is going to keep you in the old loop. The new energy is literally about emanating and remembering who you are from the inside out. So you're creating it internally through your love, through your overflow, through your godliness. You're not creating from, I need to have a job, I need to have a perfect job so that way I can be rich and successful. It's just, I don't think that works. It's like creating from the inside out. I already am rich and successful because I'm God's child. That's all I need. I'm an abundant being. And you'll start being a magnet. I'm telling you, you'll start being a magnet. I've seen it, and I experience it for myself. It's really, really amazing what's possible. And like, even just sharing this, like, I'm sharing information, but there's just codes that you're also receiving from this that we share, with each other. And I just see a lot more going forward, a lot more of this, a lot more of community, a lot more of sharing, and relating with people. Relating with people who are also, trying to, I shouldn't say try, I don't like the word try, doing what you're doing, and, ready for this heaven, this heaven on earth that's available to us. And again, heaven and hell is both here. It's like, in a way, it's two sides of the same coin. The real bliss is just being able to flow with all of it and remember who you are. You are God, it's like, it's your reality. Take it back. It's your reality. Hopefully that makes sense. And then something really funny. I was talking to my friend last night, and we were talking about, a lot of this stuff, and I can't remember. It's something like, you might as well enjoy the hell out of it. And I thought that was a really funny multi-layered joke, because literally enjoy the hell out of it. The hell is coming out of it. It's like, where we're going is so incredible. And if you have that intention and you're committed, it's going to happen. Okay. It's 100% going to happen, and just enjoy the ride, and enjoy the contrast and the weird human things, kooky, crazy, contrasting human parts about it. You might as well enjoy it. Enjoy the hell out of it. Enjoy that part of it, because it's not always going to be something, it's temporary. So you might as well enjoy it while it's here. And just groove with everything. And again, like, it just helps to cut back even more on the resistance and feel even more free and feel even more, that's really what it is. It's so hard to articulate, like, finding that flow, but it really is just a flow, not getting so stuck on everything, and again, normally people get stuck on what they think is negative. And so they actually end up like prolonging it and getting in these loops about it, when we could just flow with it. It's okay. It's really okay. That's just the ego's response, though. And it's okay. That's okay, too. Just let it be okay. Like, just have so much grace. Grace is important. Unconditional grace. I made a video called Warriors of Grace once, because the more you can have grace, again, for yourself and for others, the more you're going to remember who you are, because God is infinite grace. It's very godly to have so much grace for yourself and for others. It's just wise. It's a wise embodiment, grace is, because and you understand genuinely how things are versus the ego, versus the small ego. Again, nothing wrong with the ego. We have grace for the ego, but that ego's way of seeing things is very unforgiving. It's very rigid. It's very, not very graceful. It's very judgmental and limited. It's very finite way of seeing things, and we live in an infinite, we are infinite consciousness. So just a few more things and I got to wrap this video up. Is let the old fall away and let the new come in. You don't have to fight the old. You don't have to fight the old. Another old way of being is fighting everything. In this new energy, it's not that conducive. At least that's what I find. It's more of a letting it fall away. Because when you fight it, you get more constricted. You get more fixated on it. It gets bigger in your reality. And again, even when you're doing that, it's okay. Like, let yourself have your process. Always let yourself have your process. Take time to let yourself have your process, because sometimes your ego kicking and screaming is part of the process. You don't have to bypass that. You don't have to deny that. I allow my ego to have that. I always allow my ego to have that. It's like, okay, have your tantrum. We'll sit it out. We'll be here. And then once that passes, like, we're moving on, lovingly, if that makes sense. So just let the old fall away. The old is already trying to fall away. The old is literally being shed. That's why people who won't let go of the old are suffering, because the old doesn't need it doesn't need you to fight it. It's already crumbling down at an insane rate in all ways. We can feel it, we can see it, we can smell it, we know it. You don't have to fight it. Let it fall. Just let the old fall away. Just let it fall away. Let it create the space. Just keep creating the space by focusing on embodying who you are, to just let it keep falling away and just keep seeing it and keep embodying all these tips I'm talking about that are really going to change your life. Embodying this unconditional love and grace and flow and discernment, and being able to, stand in the shadow without, feeling like, this is like something is completely wrong with you and all this stuff. It'll fall away. It just falls away. The pain will burn it away. The suffering, the contrast will help burn it away. It's all good. There's nothing wrong. All is well. All is well. The contrast, you get to this point, I believe, we get to this point where the contrast doesn't throw us off our game. And it's like working out. It's like you keep doing that, and like you keep getting stronger and stronger, because then there's going to be another challenge, something even maybe more crazy, that's like, oh my God, what? That's going to trigger something in you, some kind of contrast. But then you're like, oh, you know what? I don't have to worry about it. It's like something higher is trying to happen. Let yourself create the space to allow what's trying to happen from God, because something higher is always trying to happen, genuinely. Another thing, being authentic, being your authentic self is so important in this time. Being you, being unique. Not trying to conform. You don't have to do it everybody else's way. You don't have to do the way that somebody's telling you have to do if that's not what your soul is asking you to do. Sometimes that's hard for people who like to please other people, but that whole people-pleasing paradigm is getting shattered, because people have to be able to take care of themselves first. It's really, really important. So, if you, being in your own lane, and somebody has like, it's really triggered by it, you know what I mean? Like that you can have your own conscious kind of response to that. But, it's like now is their time to face that within themselves. You don't have to accommodate to what everybody like expects of you if that's not genuinely what your soul is asking of you. Follow your soul, and it might be uncomfortable, because every time you're breaking a pattern, it's going to be uncomfortable. But God is helping you. God is holding your hand every step of the way. I promise you, you're never alone. You are never alone. And another thing is, ultimately what this is that I'm talking about is freedom. And it's freeing yourself from limiting beliefs. That's freedom. Freeing yourself from everything I just talked about. That's breaking out of the mind control. So beautiful. I hope this is helpful. Even on your worst days, you're still your best self. We all have them. It's very normal. It's very human. It's part of the alchemy. It's part of the transformation. It's part of the evolution. So it's all good. All is well. The more you can hold that. That's what, again, like, if I could just like go on and on and on about like what it feels like to remember who you are. It's, that's part of it too, is all is well. I am safe. I am protected. I am God incarnated. I am divine. I am sovereign. You know, I can do this. I can handle this. This is okay. I've got this. I'm bigger than any of this. I'm bigger than all of this. Very, very powerful stuff. I hope this is helpful. You know, I hope that you can really use this in your life. I really recommend like using these practices because they are game changers. And just to conclude, you know, in the way I began is that we really have these opportunities, and you know, we're really stepping into this time where you don't have to be a victim. And if you're choosing to be a victim, it's really going to reflect to you in your life in a lot of ways. Your external, if you believe you're a victim and you're unwilling to let that go, and I understand letting it go is hard because we're all letting that go again and again and again. Myself, you know, that's what I do. Like almost every day, I'm letting some kind of victim illusion go. And it's freedom. It's freeing me. It's reminding me who I am. It's aligning me. It's purifying me. For all these energies, all these consciousnesses, or people who want to remain being a victim, they're going to be reflected to that in their life really, really hardcore. And ultimately, I think it's, again, just opportunities for them to be able to wake up. And so life is very graceful. You know, there's a lot of divine grace helping all of us. And so, again, just the more we're able to see it, remember it, receive it, embody it, that's really it. It just makes this whole experience more enjoyable. And like I said, you know, we might as well enjoy the hell out of it. You know, we might as well enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy it as much as you can. You know, even especially the things you don't understand. You know, it's a roller coaster. It's thrilling, isn't it? So yeah, I just want to send so much love and grace and joy and everything, you know, empowering to people, and inspire you to be who you really are and shine brightly, and just keep doing what you're doing. We're doing it, you know. Have so much grace and compassion and faith with yourself. You are doing it. Last thing I'll say, because this is the whole point of everything, is just that unconditional love and gratitude and wholeness and that I'm talking about. First 0 point is literally knowing that you are it. You're it. There's nothing else you need to do. There's nothing else you need to have. That's all ego, and it gets really, really loud sometimes. And so that's like the work is, again, like embodying who you really are, starting to question those beliefs and letting them die and fall away, because that is the old way. Anything that separates you from God from now, you know, letting it fall away, and having the courage to leave your problems, having the courage to let those things go. And you'll be in the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. It's scary. And then you'll be like, wow, I can just live like this. I can just live like this without worrying about every little thing. And I actually just kind of attract everything that I need. Like, it feels like magic. It almost feels like unallowed. It's like, I can just live like this. That's what breaking out of the mind control has in store for all of us, is living like gods and goddesses, genuinely. So it's a process. It's a process. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time.